Hi, welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate. I'm your host, Charlie Flannery, and my guest today is Mr. Bill Callahan, President of the North Bristol County Board of Realtors for the year 2011. Welcome.
Thank you, Charlie. Happy to be here.
Yeah, you were on once before. We had you and Marty for the ceremonial passing of the gavel.
I think it's coming up on a year. I think it was almost a year ago.
Yeah. Because now it's time for you to be passing it to Susan Schmidt.
That's correct, yeah.
And I hope that that Susan and I don't have as difficult of a time prying it out of your hands as we did you and I getting it out of Marty's.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe we should look forward to scheduling a show to pass that gavel.
I would love that.
You know,
I would love that.
Sue's going to have a good year. She's excited. She's attended the Mass Association of Realtors show convention last week. She'll be attending next week is the national convention. She'll be going out to Anaheim.
Oh, swell, swell. Now, I heard a rumor that a person that we know very, very well was honored by being the recipient of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors Realtor of the Year at the recent convention in Worcester. Who might that be?
Well, if you're speaking of Bill Callahan, it wasn't me.
Congratulations.
No, I did not receive the Mass Association of Realtor of the Year. I was named the North Bristol County Association Realtor of the Year. The gentleman, and I'm going to forget his name, Charlie, but the gentleman from Boston, the Greater Boston Board, was named Mass Association Realtor of the Year. And well-deserved. The program he does for the homeless in Boston was just unbelievable. Nice man and hardworking guy. So, but thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I got nothing. So, so you should be honored you got something, you know? So what's it been like? I mean, what did you discover during your tenure that kind of surprised you about what realtors do and what the board does?
Well, it didn't surprise me. I think I anticipated it to a degree. The time involvement, number one. You're involved in a lot of different discussions, many meetings. Not only the meetings of the board, but early on in the year, I went to some of the other subcommittee meetings and became a part of that. And you're involved in all the kind of the decision making that comes to the board. And we had some things that we worked on. And the second thing is just the market itself and trying to get people to participate. Our realtor group, it's tough. People, they're busy, don't have time, or they're working hard. So it's to get the turnout to various events is a little bit of a challenge.
I volunteered to serve on the event committee for next year. We'll see.
Great.
Depends. I have a lot of enemies on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're a long-time member, and
I
you know
am,
what?
I am.
The good thing is, if you have not been involved recently, you come back to that board with, maybe a different perspective. Hey, why don't we try this? We tried it and it was great in 1989 or 1995, and it was a great thing we did. Well, let's try that again. And I, in fact, that was one of the reasons we had the meet and mingle. I brought it up to Joan was, let's do something a little more social, get some people out. So I think you bring, a man like you brings talent to that type of a committee.
Well, thank you. How was the turnout for that event, by the way?
We were shooting for 100. We had 92, 3 sign up, and I think there was 89 there. So, and we made it a lot of fun. Of course, I got carried away a little bit, and we had some games. We gave away scratch tickets if you won the, what's that, beanbag toss? So we had everybody get up and be a part of the every realtor there threw beanbags. And we had 25 scratch tickets we gave away that night.
Any winners?
Oh, well, anybody that got up pretty much won a scratch ticket, yeah.
Did they cash?
Oh, no, I don't know that, Charlie. I don't know that. But we had, in addition to I think the number was around 80 that attended. I want to say we had 15 sponsors, our affiliate members, various banks, Crescent Credit Union, Sovereign Bank. I don't want to leave anybody out, the real estate book. And they all had little exhibits and talk and material to pass out, and they gave away prizes. They gave away I won $50 to the 99, and the 99 is one of my favorite restaurants. So,
You know, you can take 7 clients there for $50. You know,
I can take my family of 6 to there and enjoy it.
I'm sure it was all above board.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good.
That's a nice place out there. It's a nice setting.
Yes.
I'm one of the trustees for the.
And they did a nice
Cultural
job.
Center.
We had a buffet and a cocktail hour and a buffet. Then we had a little program, but it was meant to be fun, and it was meant to meet your other realtor friends, talk some deals. So what's happening with you? What's good? What's not good? And I think we accomplished that.
I was thrilled to attend our 60th anniversary
Yes.
just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was a very good night.
You came in late though.
I came in late and they stuck me with the people from New Bedford, but they were wonderful people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
Lori
New Bedford
Neary,
Fall
I've had a
River
couple of
board
them.
and the New Bedford board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I was invited to the New Bedford installation, so they're nice people.
They
down
are,
there.
yeah, very nice. In fact, I've had a couple of conversations with Lori Neary, who's down there.
But you came over and joined us at our table,
I
talked to the mayor, and
I work the crowd. I always work the crowd, you know?
yeah, you talked to Senator Pacheco, I know, and
I get around.
yeah. That was a nice evening.
It was a very nice evening. And
Yeah.
I was, I really enjoy Attorney Steve Ryan, the Chief Legal Counsel for
Yes.
the Mass Association of Realtors. Talk about a down-to-earth guy, but he is so smart. I just love listening to him speak.
Charlie, he spoke at the Mass Association of Realtors Convention last week
Oh,
on
really, huh?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I made a point, I said, hey, I'm coming to your thing on Wednesday, and I did, and it's 2 hours long, and he spoke for an hour and a half, and he's just such a down-to-earth guy, as you say.
Yeah.
That it was enjoyable. He talked about 93A and, some of the pitfalls we can get involved with, and what to be careful about. And it was just fun listening to him.
Yeah. And it's funny because over the past couple of years, I've had a couple of questions
Yeah, that's
that
right.
I needed to clarify. So I called the MAR
Yeah.
legal hotline.
Right.
And who ended up answering but Steve.
Yes.
And he was so generous with his time.
Right.
And he took the time to explain it to a guy like me, and just a wonderful guy.
So-
We're blessed.
17 years he's been doing that. He
Wow.
said that
Wow.
last week, and he loves it.
He looks like such a young man.
He's a young guy.
you know,
He is.
he must have started when he was 10.
Ah, yeah.
Graduated law school at
17
12.
years of legal hotline. I think he's been at the Mass Association of Realtors longer than that. But a great guy and a very bright guy.
And who's his assistant? Is it Mike McDonough?
It's McDonough. Yeah, I think it is Michael McDonough. Yes.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He
too.
spoke too. He
We have
spoke
some. We have some good
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, that's I think is one of the
Yes.
best parts of the realtors is that the ability to go on, pick up the phone and get some free legal advice. Geez, think of that.
And they're always there to help.
Yeah.
They're always there to help. So, what are some of the things? What are some of the activities that we've participated as realtors over this past year, other than the mix and mingle? What type of community outreach and charitable events have we been involved with?
Well,
We'd let
the
folks
first,
know.
our number one event of the year is always the golf tournament, and people say, "Oh, you're doing another golf tournament," but it's a big thing for us because we raised several $1,000s. I think we were close to $10,000, and there's a separate subcommittee, that Realtor Community Service Subcommittee, that sits down. It's not the board that says, "Where's this money going?" They sit down and they go over. There might be 20 different various applications from different charities. And they decide as a committee who they're going to donate money to, and they mix it up. It's not the same old people all the time, and I think that's wonderful. So that's a very important part of the year. I also, as a realtor president, I sit on the Pro Home executive board, or I guess the board of executive board. And are you people familiar with the Pro Home here?
Oh
in
yeah,
Taunton?
I've had, in fact, Joe Pacheco.
Joe Pacheco
has been a guest on this program.
Yeah.
Terrific guy.
They handle a number of housing issues, foreclosure crisis, first-time buyer,
Yep.
and everything in between.
Yep.
And Joe's a young guy, very energetic, and the board is a dynamic board, and it's a mix of bankers, a realtor, lawyers, some community active people, community service people, citizens of Taunton. So it's a varied board, and Joe's really got it up and going. He reviews his activity for the month, so that's been kind of interesting for me to see that. And we also donate money to that, as you know, you would think the realtors would support a group like that.
Sure. No, Joe's been on and has taken the time to explain. I mean, the whole panoply of programs that they offer people, from like even a tenant who's having landlord-tenant issues, to someone who's facing foreclosure, to someone who's looking to qualify for a first-time buyer program, and it's all free. You know, I mean, when at the time Joe was on, one of the things, there was a predatory scam going around.
Correct.
People that were in trouble with their mortgages, these scumbags would track them down and charge them a couple of $1,000,
$2,000 or $3,000, yeah.
whatever they thought their market would bear, and then they disappear on these people. You know, it was like, and now the people at Pro Home do that
free
gratis.
Foreclosures
Gratis,
counseling.
you know?
That's correct.
Yeah, nice people to be associated.
And they
with.
service, I think, Bristol, Plymouth, Norfolk County, maybe. I think it's 3 counties around here.
Yeah, they're spread out over, I believe, 13 towns.
That's what it is.
And I think 1 or 2 towns may be in Plymouth County, and one may even be over the line into Barnstable, but the majority are in,
correct. Yeah.
Bristol and perhaps Norfolk County.
Yeah.
You know, but one of the things I found out is on that first-time homebuyer course that they teach, wherein you qualify for a $10,000
That's right. Yeah.
contribution that ends up being forgiven. Once you take the program with them, since it's a HUD-funded program, even if you take it in Taunton and then decide your job has been transferred and you need to buy a home in Billerica,
Really?
that certificate is valid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now, they do have a finite list of lenders who have agreed to participate in that program.
It's a pretty good list, though.
It is a good list, and
You can get a mortgage.
Yes, and those banks generally are located statewide. So
That's
as I
right.
say, even though you may take the course in Taunton, and if circumstance dictated that you had to move to Abington or something, and it wasn't one of their communities, you could buy a home in Abington.
That's right.
Under that program. So good for Joe.
Yeah, doing a great job.
25 years old.
Yeah.
Elected at 21 to the Rainham Board of Selectmen, the youngest guy ever to be elected, and I can't say enough good about the kid.
Yeah. He educated
I
himself.
apologize for calling him a kid, but
No, but
know.
he would take that as a compliment. He works hard. He does a good job.
he does. So, what types of issues are we involved with on the state level? What type of, as realtors, what type of issues are we trying to make sure that the legislature looks favorably upon home ownership?
Well, I think they continue, one of the biggest issues, and it's not only the state level, but it's at the national level, but it comes down through the state, because our Steve Ryan is a lobbyist as well, is the whole mortgage interest deduction program. And they're talking about, with all these, flat tax proponents and blah, 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 when they do that, they're going to throw out all the deductions. Now, as realtors, and I don't want to sound self-serving, but the mortgage interest deduction has put a lot of people in their homes and helped them afford homes. And there's a prediction that without that interest deduction, that the prices could go 20, 25% higher. And that's been a big help to a lot of people in home ownership. And as much as we criticize what's going on in the economy, home ownership, in my mind, is the #1 thing in our economy. Absolutely the #1 thing in our economy. Renters don't make neighborhoods. Homeowners make neighborhoods and communities, and they build communities like Tom.
Once they're vested.
They're vested.
They're vested in that community.
They're planting flowers. They're out
maintaining the property.
and they're supporting the retailers in the area, and they're on committees like you are on a committee and volunteering and doing this show here. Tenants aren't doing that.
For the most part, there are the
Yeah,
exceptions.
okay, I don't want to.
There are some good
I don't want to
tenants.
be self-serving, but
Yeah.
I think it's important that as a young person or anybody has the opportunity to own their own home.
Oh, it's the American dream.
It is.
And now, I would have to imagine the affordability index has got to be the best it's been in 20 years.
I think personally, I think one of the other issues that and this goes again, the realtor movement, and they're addressing this in Washington. They want to talk about this whole credit crisis. Now, we went one way too strong. You know, credit scores of 600 and 650 and those. That's not strong enough. But to all of a sudden zoom it up to 720 and 730, you know, there's got to be some kind of a balance here. Because, you know, if you have good credit and you're paying your bills, you should be able to get in the house. I mean, the rates are good, the prices are good, there's plenty of houses. You know, we got to get more qualified buyers.
I think what's happened is that a lot of folks have taken a few dings credit-wise during this downturn.
Yeah, they have.
And I think eventually the banks that are so flush with cash, they're going to have to move that money. I mean, you know, if they're paying interest, they got to put it on the street.
They want to do mortgages.
They want to do mortgages, but they're just so picayune. You know, I was at a closing last week, and they've just implemented within the past few months something where the lender has to verify the day of the closing that the person borrowing the money still has a job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we were at the closing table signing all the documents, and we got a call from the lender. They couldn't get through to the personnel department to verify that this fella hadn't quit or gotten fired the day before.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of the documents. So, you know, every day they come down the pipe with a new rule, you know, just to make it more and more difficult. But I think they're going to have to eventually either totally disregard FICO and look at other criteria.
They can do that. They don't have to. They can make the measurements, you know, lower and still have a good qualified candidate. I mean, there's many ways to do it.
You know, and especially if like there's a history.
Yes.
So that person always had very good credit. They hit a patch.
Right.
Much of it probably not to their own making. And now they look a little damaged.
Yeah.
But
well,
those people are worth a risk.
Maybe they were out of work for 2 months.
You
Maybe
know
they
what I mean?
changed their job because the other company moved to out of state or something. So I think all those are explainable issues.
Yes.
As lenders, they have to do their job.
Do you think we should bring back the liar loans, though? I mean, is it almost going to take that? Because I mean, the amount of inventory that's out there, it's like, oh my goodness, you know, there are something like 10 to 11 million homes that are way past 90 days in arrears that they haven't even moved on.
Yeah.
And you know, you look at the few hundred homes in condos and apartment buildings that are on the market in just the city of Taunton.
Yeah.
And then you look at the amount that have sold in the past 30 days, and there's anywhere from a 10 to 12 month supply of inventory without anything new coming on.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Well, we'll work through that inventory. As we said earlier, the rates are extremely attractive, and people want to sell, so the price is there. And you get quality homes. I mean, people can look at any number of homes and find the house they like. So we'll get through that inventory. It may take a little while, but we're going to get through it.
If I were 20 years younger, I'd be out buying a house every week. You know, and if I knew I had 20 years to work for me and, you know, all that appreciation, because everything
You're
goes...
only 40, so...
Well, that's what I have on my dating site. But the truth is I'm a little over 40.
Yeah, a little over.
Yeah. I'd pay good money to be 40,
Yeah.
in fact, but alas. So I'm still seeing downward pressure on pricing.
I am as well. Yeah, I concentrate kind of like Bridgewater North, my office is in Brockton, and I just got an offer of $40,000 less than list just 2 days ago. So yeah, we're still seeing that downward pressure. Yeah.
So would you agree with me that we really haven't hit rock bottom yet?
Well, I don't know if we're still going down. I see more or less we're level with bumps. You know, you do a good deal, and on the other hand,
Could be a dead cat bounce, though.
Yeah, I had one in West Bridgewater that sold full price. So, you know, you get those, and you get one that's down. So I see it as kind of like you move a little bit, and it's just not real. I don't see that we're still going down. I don't believe in that second recession thing. I think it's still, it's not booming by any means, but I think we're plugging along.
I've seen in some of my recent sales a rollback to prices to at least 2,000.
Oh, yep.
And I see us going back maybe even a few years earlier than that.
Well, it's funny you say that because this house in Bridgewater, 10 years ago they paid a number. I don't want to say it on TV, but that's where they are now.
Yeah.
That was the offer, the same
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
10-year difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently sold a condo. So I just entered in that particular address, and it gave me the entire sales history
Yeah.
since that place has been in existence since 1987. And it was like a history map. I mean, you could like trace the market
Right.
back to
Yeah.
where it was in
Yeah.
2000, and that's where we were today.
Yeah.
Now, my brother practices down in Florida. In some instances, they're seeing 20-year rollbacks.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
you know.
Yeah, that's tough.
And and the worst part about it is, I mean, some sellers think that, we want them to sell as cheaply as possible just to make our job easier. And that's not what we do. If we think somebody can get 400,000, we're going to tell them 400,000. If it has to be priced at 300,000 to move in this market, we tell them 300.
Well, I got a quick story. I house in Brockton, got an offer on it. This is a different one, but I had it overpriced listing. So I sent some comps to the guy. The seller is living in Maryland, and he did a spreadsheet, which I do many spreadsheets, but he took it on his own to do his. And we sat on the phone and looked at it, and we both came to the same conclusion where we should be.
Uh-huh.
And I think that goes to your point. We want to do the best job, that we can do, but the market tells the seller what the property is worth,
Yes, yes.
not you and I.
Oh, if only that was so. I mean, 6 or 7 years ago, when I went on a listing appointment, I was like Mother Teresa. They thought their place might have been worth $3.25, $3.50. I'd tell them $3.85, and I got it.
Yeah.
I walked on water.
Yeah.
Now I go to that same house. Now they've been reading all the news stories, and they know all the dreadful things about how bad the market is. But when you tell them their specific home, I feel like the doctor that has to come out and tell the family the surgery didn't go that good, But yet, and it's strange because I can try to analyze 3 or 4 different methods, and the data all comes out, telling me the same thing. It's irrefutable.
Well, I told the guy I did a market analysis for him, and I went to the house. I said, I'll have it for you in a week. And so he's talking about it. I said, well, I just want to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you, I'll be the lowest guy. You get 3, I'll be the lowest one. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a little too conservative sometimes in my approach. But I'm like you. I try to study it 2 or 3 different ways and look at things. But I do not like to, sort of blow smoke, if you know what I mean.
No,
I want to be truthful with a number.
Look, one of the first things I tell people is don't sell in this market unless you have to.
Yes.
That's
Right.
rule number 1. And number 2, this is not the market to test the market.
No.
You don't throw something out there above market value to see
Right.
if some knucklehead will buy it.
No.
You've got to come out with a fastball right at the head of the market. You know what I mean? And you come out aggressively,
Absolutely.
priced right, and that person that follows your advice is more apt to get close to asking price
Absolutely.
than if
He's
they
gonna be
fiddle and
successful.
diddle,
Yep.
and then it sits there for 6 months. You've done two or three price reductions, and it almost looks like damaged goods
Right.
to an outsider or another broker. They're saying, "Oh my God, they've been stuck on the market for 6 months now. I think it's time to give them
Yeah.
a gut shot of an offer."
Yeah. That's right.
So pricing is crucial.
It is, and I agree with you. I've been successful with that approach to try to be as aggressive as possible. Get to the price that you think it's going to sell. So,
Yeah, you can't take an overpriced turkey in this market and hope that the market catches up with you.
and I walk away from it.
You have to. You have to. And another thing I tell people all the time is, When my back hurts, I call up the doctor and I say, Doc, it's Charlie. My back hurts. What should I do? I don't call up the doctor and say, hey, Doc, it's Charlie. My back hurts. Now, here's what I want you to do. The reason being, he's the one or she is the one that has a shingle that says professional.
Yes,
They're calling me for my professional advice, as they would call you.
that's right.
They should listen.
Yeah, and you could.
If only,
Yeah.
if only they
I
did
mean,
all the time, you know?
Sometimes you have 20 years of experience, 25 years of experience that you're able to say, you know, here's what we should do in this market, you know. And that's how, you know, that's why we're in the profession.
But everybody seems to have some brother-in-law who was a real estate agent,
Yeah.
and sold a house back in 1988, and he's advising them.
They're experts, right?
Speaking of advising, I think we're going to have to take a short break for a couple of public service announcements. Please stay tuned for more of Let's Talk Real Estate.
Some things require experts at every stage.
Huh?
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Others are more just a matter of taste and preference.
Just the way I like them.
Buying a home falls somewhere in between. That's why you should visit HomeLoanLearningCenter.com for expert guidance. A website where you can learn just how you should go about buying a home. You'll get facts, tools, and impartial advice. From seeing a lender to settlement and beyond, there's a step-by-step explanation of the process. All at HomeLoanLearningCenter.com.
Houston, we have a solution.
Think of it as mission control for buying a home. That's HomeLoanLearningCenter.com.
This is a message from HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Can you afford your home loan? Could your mortgage payment increase in a few months to something you can't afford? Hi, I'm Ruby D. If you're not sure you can continue to make your mortgage payments, call a government-approved housing counselor in your community for free and confidential help. Keep your home. Know your loan. Call today.
Call 877-HUD-1515. That's 877-HUD-1515 or go to HUD.gov.
Hi, welcome back to more of Let's Talk Real Estate. I'm still your host, Charlie Flannery, and my guest is still Mr. Bill Callahan, President for the 2011 calendar year for the North Bristol County Board of Realtors. And I guess, Bill, we got to chatting
Yes.
and missed the 2-minute warning, so we just have a few minutes to wrap up here. I was thinking, why don't you, because I know you've really loved this career. You've been doing it for about the length of time I have. Tell a young person out there why real estate, despite the economy, why real estate is still a rewarding career to get into.
You know, Charlie, I joined my father, that's 25 years, 1986, and I've had a lot of enjoyment in this business, and I think you derive that enjoyment and that pleasure and the satisfaction being successful and working with many folks. I closed on a house recently, and I called this couple. They were the nicest couple. I said, "You're in my Hall of Fame. You are definitely in my Hall of Fame." But we work close with a lot of people, and the real part I really enjoy is I like selling the property and the deal. I always like the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like negotiating the deal, like putting it together, and I like, you know, the challenges that follow it. I mean, I always tell anybody, the sellers especially, anybody can go out and show a house. And the young kids today, they got Trulia, they got everything. They know all it. They know it. But it's the art of putting the deal together. And it's the art of, you know, anybody that's getting into this business, you can't be shy. You're going to have to be aggressive and, you know, work, make phone calls, work your network, talk to people. You know, it's a commitment, but it's a satisfaction you get of being successful.
You know, and it's also the satisfaction of being able to drive by a particular address and say, you know, I help those people get into that house, you know, because we live with these folks for sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 months
Yeah.
during a deal. They become part of our lives, you know, and it's a great satisfaction to be able to help them, you know, get into the ownership end of it, you know. So
You and I have both seen, just the real estate industry so wide. I mean, you can get into multifamilies, you can get into buy what we do, brokerage, you can get in the finance end of it. I know you were in that. You can be an appraiser. So the real estate field itself has many, many opportunities. And some people start one place and end up doing something different.
well, speaking of doing something different, it's almost time to say good night. So what I'd like to have you do is, if you have any questions regarding what realtors do, or questions that you'd like me to direct to Bill Callahan, you can send an email into letstalkrealestate@verizon.net, or you can make a phone call into 508-884-8869. We'll get those questions answered for you. And one quick reminder, if you'd like a copy of today's episode, please send an email to letstalkrealestate@verizon.net. Please include your name, address, and phone number so that we can verify. And that's for the first 100 respondents only, because we can't do this all day. Once again, I'd like to thank Bill.
Charlie, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. It's been
Really,
a pleasure.
I enjoyed
Be
it.
safe out there. Thank you for tuning in.